college algebra.
We are coming live from FG period, ready to learn.
All right, so looking at the first one here, we are going to be solving rational equations, so equations with fractions. First thing we want to do is we want to look and see what our least common denominator is. So least common denominator is going to be all of the factors in our denominators. So our first denominator is x. Second denominator is x minus 3. If you're adding anything to the x, that is your factor for your denominator. In the third denominator, can I factor x squared minus 9?
Yes.
What does it factor into?
X minus 3, x minus 3.
Perfect. X plus 3 and x minus 3. So for our least common denominator, we're going to list all of our denominators, all of the factors. So the first one's going to be x. The next one we have x minus 3. Next one we have x plus 3. Now we have another x minus 3. If it's already on the list, you don't have to list it again. So it's already on the list. We do not have to write it again. In the next step, once we find our least common denominator, we're going to multiply everything by the least common denominator. So everything gets multiplied by x, x minus 3, and x plus 3. So x minus 3, x plus 3, and x minus 3, x plus 3. Now, if it's in your denominator already, we want to cancel it out from what we're multiplying. So x is already in our denominator. We're going to cancel that out. We're just multiplying our numerator with whatever's left. So here we have 3 times x minus 3 times x plus 3. In our second fraction, we have an x minus 3 on the bottom, so that's going to cancel out with the x minus 3 up top. So then here we have negative 2 times x plus 3. So it'd be minus 2 times x plus 3. Then here we have the equals. So make sure you put the equal sign in your equation. In our third fraction, I have an x plus 3 in the denominator and an x minus 3. So those are both going to cancel. And then we're just left with negative 12 times x. So now we're going to take this equation and solve it. So first thing I want to do is multiply these two together. So x plus 3 times x minus 3, they're conjugates. You could FOIL it or do your conjugate shortcut. So we'll get x squared minus 9 times 3. Here I can distribute, so I'm going to distribute the negative 2x to the x and the 3. So this would be negative 2x squared minus 6x. And then it equals negative 12x. And then next we can distribute this one. So 3x squared minus, this would be 27, minus 2x squared minus 6x equals negative 12x. What do you think we would do next to solve? Combine like terms. Perfect. So I can combine my x squareds. So 3x squared minus 2x squared would be just x squared. I'm going to move the x over, so I'm going to add 12x to move it to the other side. So negative 6x plus 12x would be 6x. And then minus 27 equals 0. What do you think we would do next to solve? We want to factor. What are two factors of negative 27 that add to 6? 9 and negative 3?
Yeah.
Perfect. So we have x plus 9 and x minus 3. Now when we solve, we got to find what x equals. So what would x equal here? Negative 9 and positive 3. Perfect. But we're not done. We have to check our work. So when you have fractions, We can't have 0 in the denominator, so the denominator cannot equal 0. So you don't have to plug it all the way in and work the whole thing out. We just need to lightly plug it into the denominator and see if it gives us 0 in the denominator, it is not a solution. So let's start with -9. So I'm going to go up here. We're plugging it into our denominators. So if I plugged in -9 into my first denominator, that's fine. It's not 0. -9 minus 3, is that 0? No. -9 squared would be 81. 81 minus 9, is that 0? Nope. So it works. So -9 works as a solution. Next, let's try 3. When we plug in 3, it works in the first one. We can have 3 in our denominator. What about the second one? What's 3 minus 3? 0. Can my denominator equal 0? No. So 3 does not work. So 3 is not a solution. So here our only answer is x equals -9. All right, so first thing we want to do is find our least common denominator. So that's just all of the factors of our denominators. So here it's already factored. We have an x plus 2. We've got an x minus 4. Let's factor our third denominator. What are two factors of -8 that add to -2? -4 and 2. So we have x minus 4 and x plus 2. We already have an x minus 4 on our list, so we don't need to write it again. And we already have an x plus 2 on our list, so we don't need to write that again. So our least common denominator is just x plus 2 times x minus 4. So everything's going to get multiplied by x plus 2 times x minus 4. X plus 2, x minus 4, x plus 2, x minus 4. So if it's already in our denominator, we cancel it out. And then we just multiply whatever's left. So here we have 7 times x minus 4. X minus 4 is our denominator here, so we're going to cancel out the x minus 4 up top. So next we have -5 times x plus 2. In our third fraction, I have an x plus 2 on the top and the bottom, and an x minus 4 in the top and the bottom. So everything cancels here, so then it's just equals -9. What should we do next to solve? Distribute. So 7 times x would be 7x. 7 times 4 would be -28. Minus 5x minus 10 equals -9. What do you think we should do next? Let's combine our like terms. 7x minus 5x would be what? 2x. And -28 minus 10? Minus 38. And then it equals -9. What do you think we would do next to solve? You could add 9, but are we going to have to factor here? No, it's just an x. So let's just get the x all by itself. So instead of adding 9, what should we do? Add 38. Let's move the number to one side and the x to the other. So we're going to add 38. So 2x equals, this would be 29. Then what? Divide by 2. So x equals 29 over 2. What should we do next? Check our answer. So we're just lightly plugging it into the denominator, make sure it doesn't give us 0. 29 over 2 plus 2, is that 0? No, so we're good. 29 over 2 minus 4, is that 0? Nope, so we're good there. And then the x squared minus 2x minus 8 is x minus 4 times x plus 2. So if it wasn't 0 in the first two, it's not going to be in the third. So this is an answer. So you just need to make sure that you don't get 0 in the denominator. So just lightly plug it in. Any questions here? Perfect. Let's do number 2. So we saved the best for last. When you have a fraction equal to a fraction, all you have to do is cross multiply. So I know -7 is not a fraction, but we can make it -7 over 1. So the whole number just goes up top. Here, we just multiply across. So 1 times 8 would be 8 equals -7 times x plus 9. So we just cross multiply, set them equal to each other. What should we do next? Distribute. So we have 8 equals -7x minus 63. What should we do next? Let's add 63 to move it to the other side. We see that we just have an x here. We don't have to factor, so move the numbers to one side, the x's to the other. So add 63. We get 71 equals -7x. What's next? Divide by -7. So x equals -71 over 7. What should we do next? Check. So we only have one denominator here. We're just plugging it into the x and the x plus 9. So just plug it into here. -71 over 7 plus 9, is that 0? It doesn't matter if it's less than or more than 0. It just can't be 0. So it is not 0. So it works. So this would be our answer. So looking at number 3, first thing we want to do is find the factors of our denominator. So x minus 2 is already factored. X plus 2 is already factored. What about x squared minus 4? How do we factor this? Well, they're perfect squares, so it's a difference of squares. What does it factor into? X plus 2, x minus 2. So our least common denominator is just the list of all of our factors. We have x minus 2, x plus 2. Do we have to list it again if it repeats? No. It's just these two. So everything's going to get multiplied by x minus 2 times x plus 2. Now to save us a step, so we don't have to write it down every time, we're really only multiplying by what's missing from the denominator. So you can multiply by both things if you want and then cross it out, but what's actually getting multiplied is the one that's missing from the denominator. So here we're going to multiply x plus 2. In the next one, we're missing an x minus 2. In the third fraction, are we missing anything? No, we've got an x plus 2 and an x minus 2, so nothing gets multiplied because nothing's missing. So when we write this out, we have x times x plus 2 plus 1 times x minus 2 equals 8. Any questions so far? What should we do next? Distribute. So x squared plus 2x plus, if you distribute the 1, it's the same thing, so x minus 2 equals 8. What's next? Combine like terms. So here we have an x squared and an x, so we know that we're going to have to factor, so let's move everything to one side. So x squared, 2x plus x would be plus 3x. Subtract 8 to move it to the other side, so minus 10. What are two factors of negative 10 that add to 3? 5 and negative 2, perfect. So x plus 5 and x minus 2 equals 0. So what would x equal? Negative 5 and positive 2. What do we have to do? Check our answers. So let's just lightly plug it into our denominators. If I plug negative 5 in, we get negative 5 minus 2. Is that 0? Nope, so we're good there. Negative 5 plus 2, is that 0? Nope. Negative 5 squared would be 25 minus 4, is that 0? Nope, so it's good there. So negative 5 works. Let's check 2. If I plug it in here, we have 2 minus 2. Is that 0? Yes. So does 2 work? No. If you get 0 in your denominator, it does not work. So our only answer here is -5. All right, let's do one more of those. We'll do number 6. So first, let's list all of our denominators. For 3, since it doesn't have a denominator, put it over 1. The denominator is 1. So our least common denominator would be x times x minus 1. Do I need to write 1 on the list? No, because if we multiply by 1, it's just the same thing. So when we multiply, we're multiplying by what's missing. So what's our first fraction going to get multiplied by? Awesome, x minus 1. What about the next fraction? Just x, perfect. And then the third one? X and x minus 1. It's missing both of them from the denominator. So here I just have 1 times x minus 1, which would just be x minus 1. Then plus 2x equals, here we have 3x, or 3 times x minus 1. What should we do next? Yes.
What happens to the x minus 1 and the 3? I guess you only circle the x.
Well, this too. I wrote it down here. Let's distribute. So we have 3x squared minus 3x. And then 2x. I'm going to combine like terms on this side. So this would be 3x minus 1. What should we do next? Let's move everything to one side. So we can subtract the 3x and combine it with its like term. And then we can add 1 and move it to the right side too. So we have 0 equals 3x squared minus 6x plus 1. Now here, since we have an x squared and an x and a number, we have to factor. How would we factor? Awesome. Since our leading coefficient's not 1, we got to multiply the first times the last. We get 3. Do we have 2 factors of 3 that add to -6? No. So if it doesn't factor, what do we do? Quadratic formula. So our A is 3, B is -6, and C is 1. So if it doesn't factor, you have to use the quadratic formula. So negative B would be -6 plus or minus the square root of B squared, so -6 squared, minus 4 times 3 times 1 over 2 times A, so 2 times 3. -6 would turn to +6, plus or minus the square root of -6 squared would be 36. 4 times 3 times 1 would be 12. Over 2 times 3 is 6. What's 36 minus 12?
24.
Perfect. So this would be 24. Now remember, you can't simplify in this step. You got to simplify the square root first. You can't divide into the square root. We got to break down the square root first. So let's break down the square root. What are 2 factors of 24? 6 and 4. 2 factors of 6? 3 and 2. 2 factors of 4? So we circle a pair that we have. So 2 comes to the outside. What stays on the inside? 2 and 3. So what do we do if 2 numbers stay on the inside? Multiply. So 6 stays on the inside. Now we can simplify this if all 3 of our whole numbers are divisible by the same thing. What goes into all 3 of our whole numbers here? 2. So we can divide them all by 2. So you can only do this if all 3 whole numbers are divisible by the same thing. So we have 3 plus or minus, would I say 1 square root 6? No, we don't need the 1, so just square root 6 over 3. So that would be our answer. Now let's check it. If we plug it into our denominator, 3 plus or minus square root 6 over 3, we plug it in here, minus 1, do we get 0? No, so it works. So that would be our answer. Any questions here? But we're going to do one more. Let's do number 5. What do we do when we have a fraction equals a fraction? Cross multiply. So 3 times 9 would be 27 equals x times x plus 6. What should we do next? Distribute. So 27 equals x squared plus 6x. What do we do next? Subtract 27. So 0 equals x squared plus 6x minus 27. If we have an x squared and an x, you know that you're going to have to factor. So you want to make it equal to 0. Let's put everything on one side. Now let's factor. What are 2 factors of negative 27 that add to 6? 9 and negative 3. So we have x plus 9 and x minus 3. So what would x equal? Negative 9 and positive 3. What do we have to do? Check our answers. So here I only have one x in the denominator that I need to plug it into. So negative 9 plus 6, does that give us 0? Nope, so that works. What about 3? 3 plus 6, does that give us 0? Nope, so that works too. So we've got 2 answers here.